Aloha, everyone.
Hello.
We're happy all to be back. Yay. Take your time to see everybody here today. Okay. Good to see you.
You start becoming aware of your body and breath and relaxing at each sense door, feeling the softness of the eyes, soft inner gaze, soft inner sound vibration, soft senses, meaning they're not being activated going out to an object of sight or sound or scent or taste or touch, but just collecting awareness within ourselves, within the body mind stream. And you can just scan the body and senses for a while, maybe touch in at the heart center, the chitta. Feel the softness of the heart mind itself. Its its gentle nature. Its nature of being at rest, like when the sea becomes calm, undisturbed by the winds of experience. And feel this calmness overcoming all the senses, the mind door. And out of that gentle, calmed, natural being, is there a soft awareness you can sense without self-referencing, without making it my awareness, without there being any one aware. It's awareness that's aware, mindful awareness that touches moment-to-moment experience that feels the constant stream of physical vibrations, sense door experience, and the heart-mind door of feelings, emotions, thought formations. And like the sea, there are energies rolling from far away, storms and currents and wind. And we can feel the underlying formations come and go without necessarily grabbing on to any one of those energy waves, energy circles. Rather, just the felt sense of the coming and going stream of these energy circles and cycles felt through the body and the senses, including the heart-mind door sense that even when there's rumblings of thought formations, as when waves tend to break on the surface because of the strength of the current or the winds, awareness is resting just beneath the surface. So it's undisturbed and unperturbed by those passing, breaking formations. And we just feel the pull of the current around, below, and above us, being just below the surface of any rumblings, any ripples on the surface, or even larger wave formations we may sense. If we're under, we can feel the pull, but not be caught in that larger wave formation. And in this way, like with each breath, a felt sense, in breath, out breath, expansion, contraction, a rising and falling. The very connection with the movement and all the subtle sensations and the not so subtle sensations of those movements. Still, the awareness is as if it's beneath the surface, unaffected by the pull of those sense door waves. And there's a calming that occurs regardless of what phenomena appear, how it expresses or acts, strong or medium or subtle. The calmness is there regardless, not attached to the subtle, not repelled or rejecting the stronger sense waves, thought or sound or sensation. There's a contentment and a intention, motivation to just stay connected to the depth of that stillness, the calm, stability. abiding in that stability, in the awareness of that profound calm and tranquility, and having just enough energy to return again and again to this present time experience. Not looking for anything. It's all happening by itself. Experience does the work. There's no necessary striving, no push or pull from the depth of this mindful awareness. It's unaffected. It has no agenda, no goal. Completely at rest. Just feeling things as they are. Our motivation is that stability in present time, not to leave the present time. So wherever we may shift our awareness, because we need not nail it or anchor it to any one place, its own intelligence, where awareness is wisdom, knows what to do. So without wanting anything or not wanting anything, changing anything, fixing anything, that profound relaxation, it's just abiding in the midst of things, sensing that. We let go of any striving, any hankering to have something, get rid of something. These are the moments that there's a recognition of the power of presence, the stability, always coming back or realizing that there's only now, that there is just this moment of standing in present time awareness. Everything else takes care of itself. All those moments of uncertainty or doubt are released when there's just a remembrance of connecting here and now with this sensation, this sound vibration, this emotion, this rising or expansion of the in-breath and the softening, releasing of the out-breath. This memory, this feeling tone of pleasantness or unpleasantness, or the stream of neutral feeling tone. Where there's no activation of intensity of pleasant or unpleasant. What is that? What is that feeling tone? Neither pleasant or unpleasant. It's here. and now in this present moment, that the wisdom that arises with awareness intuitively knows what that is, what that tone is between pleasant and unpleasant, or the truth of any of the sense doors, their behavior, their nature. Please just see for yourself what's true.
Mm. After a pretty difficult case of COVID, it's remarkable even to be sitting here, and wonderful. And there is that sense of such gratitude for the Sangha, Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and being able to take a breath. So today I thought I would talk about aspiration, and probably we won't take Q&A, just see if there's energy for the talk. And I wanted to share a quotation from Sri Nisargadatta that has been inspiring me for a while now. And the question to him was, is there no such thing as permanent perfection? And he answered, yes, there is. Sri Nisargadatta answered, yes, there is, but it includes all imperfection. It is the perfection of our self-nature which makes everything possible, perceivable, interesting. It knows no suffering, for it neither likes nor dislikes, neither accepts nor rejects. Be free from predilections and preferences, and the mind with its burden of sorrow will be no more. And the question to him after this was, but I am not alone to suffer, there are others. And he said, when you go to them with your desires and fears, you merely add to their sorrows. When you go to others with your desires and fears, you merely add to their sorrows. First, be free of suffering yourself, and then only hope of helping others. You do not even need to hope. Your very existence will be the greatest help a person can help their fellow men with. And for me, I think that's an incredible aspiration, to have your very existence be of the greatest help to all beings everywhere. And so this description that this just, rather than trying to perfect experience, that we shift back to the quality of our awareness again and again, and that the quality of the awareness, there usually can be some tweak of it. I experienced it this last 10 days of extreme COVID. It's like, oh, the dullness of mind that was so intense. It was like this, all pervasive dullness that felt so thick, and yet I could bring awareness to that, right? Like I could not take it personally, not be identified with it. There's so many ways that we can work with the quality of our awareness. We can maybe bring some metta, right? Or compassion. There's all the tools we have if we can remember to pull back from this idea that there is something that we should be doing with the experience itself. It's so powerful, this shift away from desire, attachment, greed, aversion, fear, anger, delusion, confusion. And Steve mentioned in the instructions this imperturbable awareness, that with the experience above, below, around, right? But that the awareness can be calm, quiet, imperturbable within it. So inspiring. So I was affected by a question someone asked recently at a retreat about aspiration. I think that's where I got inspired to talk about it, because this person had clearly been practicing for so long and had a great inspiration to be fully free, but also this kind of weariness of it taking so long, and a kind of doubt about her aspiration in relationship to the amount of time it was taking. And I think that, this is such an important important thing to explore, really, that this, I think that our deepest aspiration is so precious and something to be so valued and so protected that it can't even be spoken to well. That's how important and valuable and precious it is, that this desire to end suffering within and without, like the desire to end greed, hatred, and delusion within and without, that it's so valuable. And I do think that depending on how things are unfolding, we often can get defeated by the overwhelm of pain, right? Like whether it's within or without, that there are times when when we look closely at it, it's aversion to pain, but there's an overwhelm, and we'll make an interpretation often about our aspiration. Like that we make an interpretation, we'll have doubt in some way, but actually we have to be very careful at these junctures that there's actually nothing wrong with our aspiration at all. And the care we need to be take the care we need to take with these junctures of feeling defeated by pain, and just getting that at these times we need so much metta, we need so much compassion, and we need so much understanding of, like, well, what are we doing? What am I doing? What are we doing? Because the deeper our aspiration, the longer we're at this, then hopefully we'll have a different way of perceiving overwhelm, which is that we're living out karma. So even if you look at the times we're in, just the past couple months, never mind the last years, or the times we're living through is a kind of collective karma, for example. And there's personal karma that unfolds. And that if we understand that there are times of pain, that it really is merely the unfolding of karma. And that the understanding we don't have to perfect experience, but we have this opportunity to improve the quality of our awareness, that spiritual opportunity is so awesome, that we live in a time of such spiritual opportunity and potential, that we will not go down that road of doubt in our aspiration. We'll actually feel like much more inspired, that we're living at such a good time for spiritual practice. And of course, we see that it might not be that maybe compassion isn't helpful in a moment, but maybe mudita might be empathetic joy, or equanimity, or metta, or patience, for example. I think of the way that we get caught in time around aspiration, that of course aspiration and patience, which is a form of metta, are so intertwined. That's that patience to remember over and over again that it isn't about perfecting experience. Most of you know the story of the Buddha to be that was living in his father, the king's different palaces, all to kind of prevent him to face suffering. Like there was the palace he was in for the rains, there was a palace for the summer, there was a palace for the winter, all to kind of eliminate as much dukkha, of as much suffering as the king could, because there was a prophecy that the Buddha to be might become a great spiritual teacher, and the king wanted him to become the next king, right? So there was this level of incredible protection around getting overwhelmed by suffering, by pain. Why? Because it's so inspiring to get motivated, to get free, right? He didn't want his son to get motivated, to be free. So he protected him as much as he could from this overwhelm, right? From suffering. And yet he couldn't protect his son from the karma that was to unfold, to be the Buddha to be. And a deva actually came and conjured up first somebody, old age, and then disease and death. 3 manifestations of what? Suffering. And overwhelming suffering. And it just totally affected him. Each time he was on his way to try to go to somewhere like the city, some city away from the palace. And each time he returned sobered, more sobered, each time. Old age, sickness, disease, each time more sobered. And then the 4th time, the deva conjured up. I find this so moving. He conjured up someone more peaceful than peace itself. And that was it. That's what did it. He started the search, right? He started that. And again, how much more valuable could that be? That search for freedom, for peace, to be someone more peaceful than peace itself, like Nisargadatta is saying. Someone that you're not even hoping they're going to help people. Their very being just helps people. The Buddha just saw someone that peaceful, and it set him right. Set him straight. In Burma, in Upper Burma, above the monastery, we've taught at for so many years until recently, up in the beautiful Sagaing Hills. There are many caves where people practice for so many years. And there's one cave in particular that is known. It's kind of known as the Cave of the Arahants, but it's a place where different people have become fully enlightened in this cave. And I find that whenever I've had the privilege to go in there, usually right away, I just drop to my knees and bow and just cry from feeling that that aspiration. Not even the fulfillment of it, just that there have been so many beings in there practicing with that aspiration. It's so pure. And so it mirrors my own aspiration, and I cry because there's somewhere on the planet that mirrors it. It's so rare. It's a protected place. I hope it will always be protected. But, when an arahant dies, that aspiration, the feeling of it doesn't leave the planet. Rumi had a poem called The Mystery. The mystery does not get any clearer by repeating the question, nor is it bought with going to amazing places. Until you've kept your eyes and your wanting still for 50 years, you don't begin to cross over from confusion. 50 years, that's a good time frame, right? I think that's it gets so distorted for us that we put all this effort in and we think like in 1 year, we should be fully free. This is that kind of distortion of our sense of we think our efforts should result in something we want right away, versus our efforts going into developing understanding. It's very important that we see that this practice purifies motivation. It's what it does. It's that purification of motivation and purification of motivation, so we're not attached to the result of the effort. Over and over again, we're not attached to the result of the effort. That would just feed identification. So you'll hear so many times in instructions, you'll hear us say, or descriptions of peace, of equanimity, that we're not trying to get anything. We're not trying to get rid of anything. That there it is in a nutshell. We're not developing desire, attachment, greed. We're not developing aversion, fear, anger. And it's the beauty of what Rumi is saying, that it's to be still for 50 years, but you're not trying to get rid of the wanting. You're not trying to get rid of the longing. You're not trying to get rid of the search. You're not trying to get rid of that sense that, that homing instinct. You smell that homing instinct that you're too far from home, right? And that you're not trying to get rid of that at all. You go through it, you keep going through it, but you don't try to do anything with it. You don't try to crush it. You don't try to do anything with it. You don't try to get rid of it. You are still with it. You let it be because it's so valuable. I think that I'll say this, but I think that I don't know that many people that had so much striving as I had. I had like a warrior spirit that was so out of balance. I was like nutcase, striving. And Sayadaw U Pandita really brought it out in me. And I still think there were so many people who blamed U Pandita for their striving, and it was like it wouldn't have occurred to me to blame U Pandita for my striving. It's like he wasn't going to check and see like how long I slept or how much I walked or how much I sat. It's like it's like, but man, he brought it out, and I'm so glad he did. You're not supposed to get rid of it. You're not supposed to get rid of it. You're supposed to use it. You're supposed to harness it. You're supposed to transform it. And when you start getting quiet, anytime in practice or in life, like you start getting quiet, you're going to smell that you're getting close to being free. We know it. We recognize it. And right at that juncture, guess what comes up? Striving. Of course. You smell it. You want it. That's your aspiration. Of course we do. We can't sit there and go, oh, I don't really want that. I've been working toward this for the last 40 years. I don't care about that. That's all I care about. I don't care about that. You can't talk yourself out of it. That's why I'm so grateful. The longer I live, the more grateful I am to U Pandita for, he wouldn't let me get away with pretending I didn't have it. And I would get crushed by my own effort. Like I would get, my effort was going into the future. My effort kept going into this future idea of being free. And instead of being free with the striving, instead of going, oh, striving, I can be mindful of striving, right? I can have compassion for it. I don't have to get rid of it. It's going to be something I travel through to get free. You travel through it. It's a sign. It's a marker. It's like a spiritual marker. And you learn to go, oh, ha, 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 wanting, right? You have to learn. You don't get free of wanting by trying to get rid of it. You get to know it, and you get to know it. It becomes a very close friend, not something to get rid of. It's something to not buy into. You don't get rid of seeing, you don't get rid of hearing, you don't get rid of smelling, you don't get rid of tasting, you don't get rid of body sensations, you don't get rid of thoughts or emotions. You don't get rid of anything. Or aversion, attachment. That's what's so cool about it. It's foolproof. And when wanting comes up and you just see it clearly, if there's enough equanimity, and this is how equanimity is cultivated. This is how we cultivate equanimity, by the awareness being, again, it's not the experience that matters, it's the quality of the awareness. If there's enough equanimity with what's there, there's peace, and the peace has the wisdom in it to see that the wanting is just like a sound of a bird coming and going by itself, or it's like a body sensation, it's like a thought. You just, as Steve was instructing today, you just let these formations come and go by itself, and it's not personal. So instead of it's like, I am wanting this, you take out the I and you take out the this, and it's just wanting. And it comes and goes by itself, and you feel free. You're no longer, right, in prison. You're no longer oppressed by wanting. You see that you never had to get rid of it. You don't have to get rid of it, and you don't have to get rid of it in the future. It's not a problem when peace is there. Nothing's a problem. Thoughts aren't a problem, etc. Emotions aren't a problem. So when we are getting quiet, of course, whatever we need to work on in terms of getting free is going to come up. And if you've practiced long enough, hopefully you start to see that you want it to come up. You want to get free. So even the most difficult things and the difficult aversions and attachments and delusions, the things that are still sticky, there'll be that initial like, oh no, not this again. But it can shift to gratitude, like, oh boy, this again, because I need to work with this because I'm not free with it. So there's the patience, right? The patience is the loving kindness that wakes us up to our potential that might not be happening at that moment, Where are we? Page 21. This is from the late poems of Wang An Shi, translated by David Hinton. It's called Dream. Knowing lifetimes are like dream, I search for nothing now. Knowing lifetimes are like dream, I search for nothing now. Searching for nothing, a mind is perfectly empty, perfectly quiet. And so deep in dream, it traces borderlands of dream, clear through river and shoreline sands to the end of dream, the end of samsara. So we search until we search for nothing. And if we're caught in time, I think when we do get caught in time and impatience with our deepest aspirations, I think that we can see that we're also cultivating the parami of patience by facing the impatience. It's like it's okay to be impatient. It's again that sense of like understanding that whatever appears, if we see it clearly, it's not a problem. And we can say, well, of course I want this to go faster. Of course we do. You see, it's not like you need to talk yourself out of anything. It's just that you have the metta, the patience with the impatience, and then we see that yes, we would like it to be happening faster, but then the equanimity comes with things are as they are. We just have that the metta, the equanimity, the patience, and then the equanimity with understanding that things are as they are, that this is unfolding the way it is. So the equanimity is the unconditional acceptance. There's a Henry David Thoreau's Book of Wildflowers from his journals. This is from August 17th, 1851. I am not so poor. I can smell the ripening apples. The very rills are deep. The autumnal flowers feed my spirit, endear the earth to me, make me value myself and rejoice. Do we think of the coming autumn, just the smell of a ripening apple, as a time to value yourself and rejoice? It's like in the kind of all the aspects of possibility of our aspirations. I hope that's one of them. I think I'll read another one because it's August and pretty soon August will be over. This is from August 26th. Each humblest wheat plant or weed, as we call it, stands there to express some thought or mood of ours, and yet how long it stands in vain. I have walked these great fields so many Augusts and never yet distinctly recognized these purple companions that I have there. I have brushed against them and trampled them down, forsooth. And now at last they have, as it were, risen up and blessed me. So much of his life, this is a guy that aspired to see it all, right? To like get it all and value it. And yet for so many August, he missed this little purple flower and he'd been stepping on it and stepping on it year after year. And he finally saw it. And he not only finally saw this most humble of flowers, he felt blessed by it. And this is what we need to see, that we're missing so many experiences because we're rejecting them or attached to others. When we miss, there were so many moments I was missing the dull mind of COVID. I must say, it's like it wasn't good enough. But I was alive. You know, it's like we're really, we get attached to a certain kind of clarity of mind that isn't possible when you're sick. But there's so much actually going on that one can value, particularly the metta and care from other beings. That's, you know, you get it. You're grateful because that's how you're alive. So knowing, kind of staying in touch with and recognizing and knowing our deepest aspiration, kind of like being led by that, it's very close to some metta instructions or loving kindness instructions where we'll say, you know, get in touch with your deepest wishes for yourself this lifetime, right? That's how you can start loving kindness, getting in touch with your deepest wishes for yourself. But you start, as you do that, you start to recognize it's your deepest wishes for everyone. And our aspiration is so close to that usually, that the deepest wish to be free from greed, hatred, and delusion, from basically causing harm, or wanting to be free from causing harm by motivated by being greed, hatred, and delusion. Again, inwardly and outwardly causing harm to ourselves and others. And of course we wish that for others. It's wishing for this deep understanding and happiness of peace. And we can, I think it's like Thoreau with that smell of the apple, not even having one, but smelling them ripen. It's like you can smell yourself ripening in the practice. It's more sweet than the smell of an apple, the maturing of your own practice and others, the Sangha. You know, you can rejoice. This is the mudita. You rejoice in the aspiration and every effort made without being attached to the effort. It's so worthy. There's so much worthiness. And if we really get that, if we keep at the practice, how equanimity develops is like we get to see over and over again. We want experience to be permanent. We want it to be reliable. We want it to be controllable, right? And we don't want greed, hatred, and confusion and delusion. But we start to understand and accept that we can't control. Experience isn't controllable. It isn't reliable. It isn't permanent. And it's this is how equanimity develops, the disenchantment infused with wisdom, with the peace and the contentment, the deep, quiet contentment of that. And that's really all we have to do. It's like that's enough. I have 100% faith in that cultivating of the equanimity and the peace of that, the Brahma Viharas. Mm. I think I had another, yeah, I think I'll end with. I'm not sure. So recognizing our aspiration to, keep coming back to the spiritual home, right? Smelling it, tasting it, the recognition of the aspiration to be someone who's just their being is enough. The one who is more peaceful than peace itself. This is from Wang Anshi. From he lived 1021 to 1086 in China. Drifting grain thresh river. To ease illness and the ruins of age, I sail river currents. Spring wind scares me and the noontide. But I'm new now, a person sharing chi mind with wild blossoms. So is there anywhere mountains won't welcome me home? Is there anywhere mountains won't welcome us home? May we stay in touch with our deepest aspiration every day. I think today that might be just enough. Next week we'll do Q&A, but I mean, Steve probably has energy for Q&A, but I think, what do you think, Steve? Enough? Good. Okay.
Just enough.
Good to see you all, be with you. There's nothing like being with Sangha.